What is up, everybody? Isaac here with Civil Engineering Academy again with our podcast. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you doing this. Today, I bring an awesome guest on. His name is Josiah Ferguson. He is from Minnesota, and he works for the City of Shakopee and doing some great stuff there, working on water resource projects, working on transportation projects. I brought him on because he recently passed his PE exam, and he's sharing with us the latest tips, tools, and maybe some mindset and some strategies to help us pass our PE exam. He took his PE in water resources, and so he details his journey into taking that, including what he did for his FE, how he passed his PE, and all the tips and strategies related to that. So if you are on the hunt to pass your PE exam and you maybe are taking water resources or really any of these other disciplines, this is going to be a great episode to listen to. It's going to be the latest and greatest of what's going on out there in PE world. And if you need help, definitely check us out at civilengineeringacademy.com, or you can go check out our course at civilpereviewcourse.com. We can help you with your PE, or if you need help with your FE, civilFEreviewcourse.com. We'll get you covered there as well. So without further ado, let me get to my interview with Josiah as we talk about passing the water resources PE exam. See you in a minute. All right, Josiah, we're rocking and rolling. Thanks for joining me today on the Civil Engineering Academy podcast. Appreciate you doing this with me.
Yeah, fun to be here.
I know you got some construction going on back there, but it really makes this feel like we're in the civil engineering environment. So it's going to be good.
Yep.
I always dive into, starting these by having you introduce yourself. Like, how did you find yourself in the world of civil engineering? Maybe give us a taste of, when you passed your FE and how you got taken the PE. What was that journey like for you?
Yeah. So I went into college knowing I wanted to do some type of engineering, but not sure what type. I'd taken some engineering classes in high school. And sort of end of my freshman year, I was just had to pick one type. And I was like, I like the mix of physics and chemistry and like public service and helping people and stuff like that. That was civil engineering. So went with that, and then took the FE like a semester before I graduated. And then now with the rules in Minnesota, you can take the PE before you have all your 4 years work experience. So I just fit it in here to what was a good timing for me to fit it in, and picked a time back in like last October or something, and then did my studying and all that stuff. So.
Well, let's back up a minute. So FE prep, did you only have to take that one time on the FE? And were you was there some sort of prep at school, or did you feel prepared because you were in school and you could just...
Yeah, since I was still in school, it felt pretty well prepared. I mean, I did some review stuff, I think. I'm sure I went over the reference manual and stuff like that, but I didn't do a ton of prep. It was a month. I did it in June or something. So a month after I'd finished a bunch of classes, and it was just not a ton of, didn't feel too difficult. And I've always been pretty good at taking standardized tests too. So it's just it did.
Oh, that's awesome. So. Some struggle, some it's not too bad. So that's great. And then fast forward, now we're taking the PE, and you said Minnesota allows you to take it. Do they allow you to take it right after FE is done, or do you have to wait 2 years?
So it's you need to. It's 3 years from your application to the board to get all your 4 years work experience in. So about 2 years in gives a healthy buffer zone sort of thing.
Okay.
But
how long did you wait?
It was about 2.5 years, I think. Yeah, something like that, to when I registered.
Okay.
Because it's to when you register for the exam, and then obviously you're doing all your prep work and stuff afterwards. So I registered back in October, November, something around there. And then started studying back in February or something. So.
Okay, and tell us which depth exam you ended up taking and why you ended up choosing that one.
Yeah. So with my work for city government, I do work that could be either like water resources or transportation. But I liked studying the like water resources stuff better when I was doing that studying in college. So that's the one I ended up picking. But I think I could have been successful taking either one of those two just based on the types of work the types of projects we work on. So
Would you have any tips for somebody that maybe is questioning which one to take? Like maybe they don't particularly do one depth area at their workplace, but they're confused maybe which one to go for.
I mean, that's exactly the situation I was in. That was like half my projects are like road construction projects of like we're redoing the roads in this area or stuff like that. And then the other half are like dealing with stormwater drainage stuff. And so I was totally in that situation and I just picked like sort of you just have to pick one and like whatever you do part of it, pick one. And I picked based on what I remembered liking better in studying in college. Um, and you just like go with
And it
that.
worked out.
Yeah. So
That's great. So that's awesome. So we're studying for the PE now. We've chosen water resources. What was your study plan? What did that look like for you? Did you have a long runway? Did you give yourself 3 months, or was it less or more?
yeah.
And
So
how did you plan out your studies?
so I'd gone to the like Minnesota Society of Professional Engineers every year puts on a like PE info session. And I've gone to that a couple times where they have like panelists who've recently passed and just like sharing some tips and tricks like this sort of podcast thing, but just set up as an in-person event with like a panel discussion. And at those discussions, I'd heard, about the 3 months time frame. So that was my plan. And then, so it was like when I registered for the exam, I bought the NCS practice exam. And then, so when I was starting my 3 months of studying, I was like, the first couple of weeks, I was just like looking through that exam and I was like, I need something more to do my studying. So I'd heard a bunch of people had taken classes of different types. So I was just like looking into what the different options were and picked Civil Engineering Academy.
Which we're happy about.
Yep.
Why did you choose us? I'm just curious what your thoughts. You can be honest with us. I just curious why you chose us.
So from the because I'd watched some like YouTube reviews of the different courses and stuff like that. And it felt like a good fit for like my learning style. So some of the other classes, the like things that were said were great about them were like live practice sessions or where you could ask the presenter questions. Like that's not my strong suit of how I learn. So I didn't feel a value in that. And then the price of this course was substantially cheaper. And while I maybe could have gotten it reimbursed or something through my work, I was just like, I don't want to have to deal with that. They want you to like stick around for 5 years after getting reimbursed. And I was just like, I'm probably moving on when I get my license in a year and a half. Like, I don't want to stick around, lock myself in. So I'll pick the cheap course that I think has all the stuff I want in terms of like what will actually work for me for studying. So
that's awesome. That's the first time I've heard of that reason of why people found us. So that's great.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. Well, so you take the course. I know we provide practice exam stuff. How did you take practice exams, or what tips would you have for somebody preparing for the exam? Like, did you take them timed? Did you chop them up? Did you just work them?
Yeah, I really liked taking them timed. And so like I did 3 practice exams, the 2 through your course, and then the one I'd bought before through NCES. I did all of them timed, though broken up in different chunks. So like I made time on a Saturday to do the computer-based exam through you all, just like as a full 8-hour practice session to just like get the feel of that all the way through. But the other ones I broke up in more would be like do 2 hours after work or 3 hours the next night and then maybe 4 hours on Saturday or something like that. So just like broke it up into a couple different chunks, but just like making sure I kept it timed all the way through so that even with the breaks, you're still getting a reasonable set of like, okay, how long do I have for each of these problems and stuff?
That makes sense. If somebody were to ask you, what should I be shooting for on a practice exam to feel confident taking the real exam? What would you say to them?
So, like the number provided in the stuff is the like 70% number or something to pass, and I was so like of the three exams, I think I had a 58 to 59 and a 69 or something like that out of 80. Um, so somewhere in that range, I felt very confident. When I finished the exam, I felt like, yep, this was exactly felt very much like the practice exams right in the middle of where I was there. So I was like, coming out of the exam, I was like, okay, I'm like 95% sure I passed here. Was not too, I mean, obviously you're always a little worried until you actually get the like confirmation, but I was pretty confident just on how it felt compared to the exams I'd taken. So,
Okay. Well, that's good tips. When you actually like took the exam, was there any surprises? You took it and you were like, "Oh my gosh!"
um, so like a fairly small difference was just like the number of alternate answer type questions.
Because
Um, it was, I think it was like 11 or 12 or something. It was like substantial number. Yeah,
normally it's less. It's usually like 4 or 5.
yeah. I don't. The practice exam I took was a similar number, I think. So it was, or the one through NCEA. So I I shouldn't have been surprised, but I was. It's just like because I was expecting that like 4 or 5, and then it was like double or triple that, and then I'm like,
Wow.
okay, but it was fine. It wasn't like the content wasn't dramatically different or any of that stuff, and obviously with the wide scope, like I wasn't prepared on every possible question. There were a couple I didn't feel super strong about, but like that's gonna happen. I was confident enough on all the rest that like still passed, obviously. So
So let's go back to those alternative item types. Do you feel like, I mean, we know there's different types of alternative types. Do you feel like they asked you like a lot of point and click, or was it a range of them?
yeah,
Fill in the
it was.
blank.
I mean, it was probably of the like 4 alternate types sort of thing. It was about split evenly between all of them.
Okay, that's
Uh,
interesting. Maybe they're leaning more into that.
just like a couple of those alternate answers are just like click 2 boxes instead of one. Like that's not dramatically different, but or like yeah, pick 2 or 3 correct answers. But
I think at the end of the day, like students should not be scared of alternative item types, right? Like you're studying, if everything's multiple choice, like either you know the answer, you know how to solve it, or you don't, right? So
right, like
even if they mix it up, you didn't feel like you were thrown off.
no, yeah, no, it felt fine. It was just like a little bit, oh, this is a little different than what I was expecting. Not in a way that like made me not confident about my test taking abilities or anything. Just like, oh, that's a little curious.
Hmm,
But
that's great. Well,
yeah,
was there anything about the Civil Engineering Academy course that you felt like prepared you, maybe that stood out?
I learned the like full 8 hour practice computer based test, just like that practice of going through it and just like the experience of you're 5 hours into the exam and it's just like your mind is moving slower and just like, yes, I can still think through this problem, but it takes me an extra second. And just like that experience, just like to so that I was prepared for that feeling going into the actual test.
It's important to put yourself through that, right? Because it's
Right.
like you would never have thought how mentally draining it probably was until you
Yeah. It's
went
it's
through
really
it.
so
That's awesome. So great. So practice exams are definitely key. We're happy that we have that as part of the course, that CBT, exam simulator for people, which is always helpful. I'm curious too. A lot of people get scared by like standards or codes that are required in addition to just the regular specifications. Did you feel like, I know water resources doesn't have a lot. There's
Yeah, it's
really
like two, I think.
two. So
Yeah.
did you feel like that was hard to prepare for? Or you felt like there was nothing really
I
that
didn't
you
do a
weren't prepared
ton of preparation on those, mostly just knowing a little bit of like how to search through the reference manuals, but I didn't end up having a lot of questions that needed references, which I think is probably pretty standard for water resources with how few resources
that
or
makes
like the
sense?
references you have. So yeah.
Any time management issues, like would you advise somebody, hey, you know, maybe they're struggling with time management on an exam. It takes too long to get through stuff.
Right.
Do you feel like practice exams helped with that, or
Yeah, that was
even on your exam, how did you feel like you did?
Yeah, I felt pretty good on my time management on my exam, which was definitely helped by having done all the practice exams before that. And just like that, I'd done 3 practice exams where it was timed through there and knew that I had a pretty good sense of it through those practice exams. So, yeah, I think I ended up with like 20 minutes extra total in my exam or something, which is like, that's pretty well timed out in terms of using all your time and having enough time to go back and look at stuff. And um, like the
Perfect.
first half that I was right, if you try to put your first half in your first 4 hours or whatever, that one I could have pushed even a little longer. And then the second half, I felt I had a little extra time, but like
Hmm.
turned out fine. So
Do you feel like they mixed the exam up pretty well with, let's say, AM and PM type questions, or easier and harder throughout the exam? Or did you notice, like, oh my gosh, the first part of the exam, the first half was just a bear and the second half was a little easier? Or do you feel like it was a good mix between
it was a
them?
pretty good mix. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, yeah, just like there were a couple more questions in the first half. I mean, it's just like a 41-39 split, or maybe it was like 44-36 or something like that. Like
Okay.
not, um, but
Nothing too crazy.
yeah. So
Okay. Well, what was the day like you got your results? Take me through that.
Um, so I looked online and just like that they always come out on a Wednesday. It's going to be around early morning type thing. So I was sort of expecting it. Checked when I got up, just in case they were extra early, but wasn't really expecting them. Got to work at 8. And I was sort of thinking they'd be out around that 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central time. And they weren't, but then it just like, I got the email 6 minutes later or something. So I was like, ooh, great. Hey, it's here. Uh, then whatever, logged into my account. So I passed. Great. Shared it with the whole office. Everybody is super happy for me. Yep. It's a lot of fun. The next day, somebody brought in a Burger King crown for me to,
Wow.
like, it's great. No,
That is great. It's fun to have support like that. I mean,
yeah.
I'm just curious, but like, it sounds like you had support at work, but outside of work, did you have support too? I mean, the course provided support too, but I mean,
Uh,
how important is support for somebody that's going through this process?
yeah, I mean, you want to have people who are supportive of you taking it and just like having the hearing the experiences of the older engineers at my office who took it back when it was on paper, and just like their experiences studying was just sort of fun to hear that. And like that one of them had failed the first time was just like help take a little stress off that, yep, you can fail and then pass it your second try or whatever and keep going. And just, yeah. So I was like worried about not passing it because, right, like it's a lot of money to re-register for the
Oh yeah.
exam and all that stuff. I wasn't like super worried about it, right? I could take it again. It wouldn't really delay me actually getting my license. or any of that sort of stuff because of how it is in Minnesota, as we talked about earlier. So it's just like some stress, but not too much, which I felt was a like good mix because like some stress is good to like actually get you to stay focused and all that stuff, but like too much can become overwhelming. And so just like balancing that was um, a nice help both from just like my circumstances and from the support I got at work.
That's great. Yeah, I think it's really important to have support, whether it's at work or at home or even, through our course. We definitely want to support you on the journey and not leave you hanging. But that's great. Well, man, if you were going to talk to the next person taking the PE exam, do you have any other strategies, mindset tips, anything else that you would share with them if they were going through this?
Um, so like the 3 months of studying felt pretty good for me. Like obviously not continuous or anything like that. Like I took weekends off if I had family stuff or whatever, but just like that as a like target goal felt pretty good to me as a minimum. And then just like I liked how using a course helped break up the like big chunk of you got to learn all this different knowledge and just like break it up into manageable chunks of like each video so you can just like work your way through it. Because that was like my first couple months of studying was mostly just like working my way through that. And then like the last month was really the intensive, like studying, taking practice exams, stuff like that. So just like break it up into small chunks so you're making some progress every day. And you'll make it through. We'll be fine.
You can do it. Awesome. Well, Josiah, this has been really fun. I appreciate you sharing all these tips and your journey into becoming a professional engineer. What do you think's next for Josiah? What's next on the to-do list with your career?
I gotta wait another year and a bit and get all my hours submitted and stuff, and then yep, I'll be looking for promotion to some sort of like project engineer role, something like that. So
Get that stamp rolling.
yep.
Okay. Well, thank you for doing this. If anybody had questions on taking water resources or maybe wanted to reach out to you with some questions, what would be the best way to do that?
Probably just through my LinkedIn would be my thought. Just my name and area like Minneapolis or something. I think I'm one of the first ones up there. So
Okay, I like it. Cool. Well, Josiah, thanks for taking our course. Thanks for sharing your thoughts about it. Appreciate you joining us. We're super excited you passed. It's going to be the springboard to launching your career, and we're just excited about all those possibilities. So thank you for doing this.
yeah, thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Okay, see ya.
Yep. Bye.